After a freak accident, your plane has crash-landed on a desert island. An island filled with mystery and danger. Will you be rescued? Can you survive? Do you have what it takes to make the choices between life and death? Dyscourse is an adventure game where you take the role of a young woman named Rita who is stranded on an island after a plane crash. Your goal is to explore the island with the other survivors while trying to find valuable resources such as food and water. Most of the gameplay revolves around exploring small locations until you eventually find a puzzle that requires you to make a choice on how to proceed. Each of these choices has consequences, some good, some bad. And making different choices in the same situation can result in drastically different outcomes, with the biggest choices in the game often requiring you to decide who will be there when you're finally rescued. Now, when I called this an adventure game, I meant that in the most classical sense of the word. This game is, without exaggeration, a near-perfect representation of a good old-fashioned choose-your-own-adventure story. The puzzles, what few there are very minor, very simple. The focus of the game is really on your decisions, what order you choose to undertake certain actions in, and what characters you choose to interact with. The challenge comes from steadily memorizing a timeline of consequences and then choosing your actions for the best possible results. Now, I suppose I should mention that Dyscourse is a little short. Playing the game from beginning to end will probably only take you about 40 to 50 minutes. However, because the game has alternate paths, there's an expectation that you will play it multiple times, and you can probably get 4 or 5 good runs out of it depending upon how many endings you want to see and how many survivors you want to save. The one downside I found when playing Dyscourse was that there was no option to fast forward through text. You can eventually go back and replay scenes in order to take different options, but there's no way to skip a conversation even if you've already read all the dialogue. Beyond that, Dyscourse is still an excellent adventure game with plenty of possible paths to determine the fate of your characters. I would give it 3 out of 4 stars, but I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. This is an adventure game that's more about building a narrative than it is about solving a puzzle, and some people might be turned off by that lack of interactivity, as well as the idea that some of your choices can lead to unfavorable ends. Still, if you want an adventure game where the story is up to you, then yeah, check it out. Alright, thanks for listening. Keep your head above water, and remember, not everybody makes it home.